Um, yeah, so I wanted to read two poems that appeared in Michigan Quarterly, and two poems that I haven't published yet, and then end with an Arabic poem. All my poems are really short, um, and yeah, let's take it from there. Um, Family Tree. Instead of accepting their new life as flowers in the desert, my grandparents settle in my soul. They bring me luck, not that of gold, but of warriors who, despite a tribal truce, took vengeance for the dead. Like animals, my grandparents live in fables. One of them brings balls to their knees, another crosses borders, chasing after the shadow of his father's killer, as nations came to birth, then grew too tired to kill. My grandparents are nonsense. They cannot break down letters. Their language is as foreign as their enemies. They spit in three tongues of songs, silence, and sorrow. Until the age of 30, my grandma did not learn how to pray. She looks up to the sky and blinks twice with her palms open into a pigeon. Before sleep, my grandparents kiss their kids after kissing the goats. They yell at them, "Come close, watch out for the wolves." My grandparents are my Don Quixotes. They feud for entertainment, write poems before and after they murder their cousins. Till now, the British recall an evil tree that shot their soldiers of my grandparents' rifles. The tree was made. Gold sets destinies, warriors change them. When I mumble, it's because my lips are still too young for their voices. When I sing, it's because they're feeling free, but not necessarily happy. Thank you. This next one, genetics. Can't trust people who don't like oranges. I once had a friend who hates oranges, squeezes her eyes at their smell. Of all scents, she only inhales perfumes and burned rice. Her full lips don't yearn for juice, bitter, sticky sweetness. At the top end of her mouth, she can't teeth off the body of an orange, truth, art, or pussy. I too had produce to hate on. The days when my family still ate seated on the floor, the women like Buddhas, the men half cross-legged, ready to perform exorcism on the head of a goat fresh off the halal guillotine, sitting centered in the rice, a betrayed king full of pride. With the back of my hand, I push him aside, the tip of my fingers sorting away fragmented onions. I grew up in a country where people eat with their eyes and could hire someone to chew their food for them as to reserve their own for bigger sins. A whole generation who complains of tomatoes for being red and not sweet. One day, my dad bought a dining table. We stopped using fingertips and chasing onions. The men and women sat equal, the newspapers saddened to not be stained. Today, I crunch onions like apples or like carrots, which my mother crushed to cure my blindness at her first test of her motherhood. She asked the doctor, "Is it true the carrots help?" He nodded, because in his peasant mind, this was a good joke about kids being donkeys and mothers being spirits. Every day she made me a carrot juice until everything tasted of carrots. I began to see visions, nightmares, stories of a mother who turned her daughter into a donkey. My mother never tried again to save me. Nothing works, she says. No longer believes in vegetables, fruits, or motherhood medicine. Can't fix mouths or eyes, she says. Can't be genetics. Okay. um, so there is this poem. Okay, it's called "At the JFK Back Room," aka the Minorities Room. I think some of us are familiar with the experiences of the airport back rooms, and yeah, the title explains itself, I feel. How can we, being here, enter, exit, being there? We, the grim clowns of destiny, more embossed by journey than destination, sit perplexed on cold legless chairs, stacked up, linear firm soldiers, watching oneself, our bags gutted at the crooked mouths of Irishmen, Caribbean men, Italian men, Chinese men, who make one strong nation. We pray at the officer's altar for our lives to outlast, to outplay an empire. We kiss on God's ears to make them deaf, to burn their eyes, to damage their files. Ignore the rainbow of brown and black men who seem to upset both their women and the males of whiteness. All I can see of my next seat neighbor is his all trembling knees, eliminating through the white dress a waving flag. Nothing more irregular now than to breathe, to swallow, lay down jaws, let words and pride slip south. Straggling, we come forward to the start line, and the end line are one. The enemy is before us immortal. The friends behind don't matter. There is only one Russian among us to sprinkle the room as random. Guts sprawling, touching core to core. The fingers in four directions jittering. In them we hide the old maps. Yeah, I have a lot of airport poems, and they don't seem to run out. Nebraska. This one is more, for those of us who experience like the nightmares of a long night tonight. I have sent in my application for a sleep permit hours ago, I-444. I got a notification it is being processed at the Nebraska Center for Insomniac Aliens. They first returned it saying I checked the wrong application type in my answer to question F2. They even returned the check voided. I've put on my nightly dress 13 times, trying to trick my body into tricking this 24/7 capitalist cycle into pausing. I refiled my application, this time ticking the right choice. I folded my mouth. I counted all the sheep in this nation. Maybe I licked the wrong stab. Maybe the postman is still at the trap house. Or maybe they don't speak English in Nebraska. Yes. Now is the Arabic poem to close with. جسدي مركبتي. جسدي مركبتي أقوده مثل مراهق مستهتر يصطدم بالآخرين بالأرصفة، يجتاز الإشارة الحمراء في الثانية الأخيرة فيهز شرطي الموت رأسه. أحيانا أفقد ملامحا أو خصلة أو عضوا ولا أجد قطع غيار في السكراب. خسرت شفاهي الفضية وقلبي المغطى بالشحوم، وخسرت قبعتي المتحركة ثم يدي اليسرى التي أرى من خلالها الآخرين. مثل رجل كندي في أيام الاثنين أشغله بهدوء وأجرف الثلج من حوله، أدعه يسخن ويصحصح يستعيد حواسه، فلا سيارة تنهض من السرير مستعدة لمواجهة الشارع. في الغرفة أدعها تحوم، كلما اختنقت الفكرة تخدش أظافرها المهملة خشب الأرض بانتظار اللغة تخرج والغصة تزول. ما الذي علي فعله بمركبتي هذه؟ لا يمكنني ركنها وهجرها في أي مكان. حين أذهب للتسوق تحطم عجلاتي السيراميك اللامع، وحين أنزل إلى البحر تنغرس في الرمال. صغيرة وسمراء ومحطمة، زجاجها سجل الريح وصوتها يتداعى في ساعة الزحام. Thank you.